What's up, comic book fans? And welcome to Comics Icons. Now, JJ, what they call me. And today, we got another new series. This time, with the first issue of the new 6-issue series called Get Fury. And this story is more of a flashback story to the Vietnam War. In it, Nick Fury is captured by the Viet Cong. And Fury has so many secrets that the United States were forced to send in Frank Castle to take out Nick Fury before he's able to give up any U.S. secrets. So if you guys are fans of either or both of Nick Fury and Frank Castle, and you want to find out what happened in this past event between these two icons, then you guys know what time it is. Let's get it. So this series kicks off with a little Vietnamese fella named Le Trong Giap. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. But this guy had been fighting in wars since the age of 12. But now at the moment, this guy is so old and worn down that now all he does is wait for death. Food and drink have lost their taste, he says. And no woman's touch even gets him right anymore. His body is straight up falling apart, and all that he has left now is mischief. But he's also a sucker for a good story. And he recalls one with two particular soldiers. Both conundrums, he says. Both sublime expressions of the very soul of war. And when they came to Vietnam, he had faced both of them. Now, whatever issues he's had with these men has since faded. But these men were Frank Castle and Nick Fury. Now, Le Trong still has plenty of military and government sources. He's corresponded with academics, media people, and online malcontents. And as he sifts through ancient records, interviews participants, he looks for those two names, Frank Castle and Nick Fury. And when those two names intersect, his heart skips a beat. Like I said earlier, he is a sucker for a good story and a little mischief. And this particular story starts in February of 1971. And Captain Frank Castle is on base, and he's reading a letter from his wife when two military police officers roll up on him, and they've got orders. But before they get into that, their attention is caught by the skull placed right beside Castle. And one officer even goes on to ask him about it, to which Castle tells him that his team found it outside a bunker complex after they had called in a napalm strike. So this already gives these guys an idea of the type of person they're dealing with. But regardless of the fact, these guys have orders to shoot all the dogs. So they've been going around policing dogs, and they're supposed to take them away and destroy them. And they ask Castle if anybody on his team has dogs. And just then, one of the soldiers walks out, and he's holding a dog, and he tells the officers that, nah, they ain't got no dogs here. So the officers tell this soldier that their superiors are worried about rabies going around. And there have been reports. So they suggest that this Marine hand over the dog to them, and they'll take care of it for him. So this guy first goes on to check with Castle. "This true, Captain?" he asks Frank. And Frank could really care less right now, so he's just like, yeah, I don't know, but they had their orders. So now this guy's like, cool, I'll tell you what. As he starts to load up his rifle, "You take care of Sammy here, and I'll take care of you." So now the military police are a bit annoyed and possibly slightly terrified. And they look to Castle to help them out. But once again, he could care less. He's still focused on that letter from his wife. Meanwhile, the big guy with the dog tells the military police that Sammy is the only thing he could find here in Nam to love. And subsequently, the only thing in Nam that loves him back. So now the military police are pissed. But they also don't want the smoke, so they leave it alone. But one of the officers makes sure to give Frank Castle a piece of his mind. Then he says that he has a brother who says his unit is always pulling Castle's recon unit out of trouble. And now this guy just keeps laying into Castle, speaking his mind until another soldier pulls up. And he's got orders from the major to drive Castle to the flight line. Then he tells Castle that he's gonna need to pack a bag because he's heading to Saigon. Then we pick up with Nick Fury. And right now, he and his unit have been captured. And from the looks of things, they've just been sold. Meanwhile, we see Frank Castle, who's made his trip, and he's now getting his next orders. And as he's getting briefed by the general, he's reminded of his prior association with Nick Fury, that approximately 1 year ago, Castle accompanied Colonel Fury on an operation to assassinate North Vietnamese General Lee Trong Giap, that little old man that we met at the beginning of this series. Then he's reminded about a few other missions he's been a part of. And long story short, the general tells Castle that he knows Frank understands operational deniability, which is why he's here now. Then he's told that this morning at 01:30 local time, all radio contact was lost with a Huey transport traveling west of the Cambodian border. Transponder signals indicated the aircraft had crashed almost immediately thereafter. A response team was scrambled, and they determined engine failure was the cause for the crash, and found dead at the wreck were the pilot and co-pilot. Missing were the crew chief, the door gunner, and Colonel Fury. So now Castle doesn't even really need them to finish explaining this. He already knows. You want me to kill him, Castle says, talking about Fury. And they tell him that they really see no other way to proceed. They've had flights all over the area monitoring all day, and if Colonel Fury were free to act, he'd have found a way to signal the flights. And this close to the border with South Vietnam, he is in all likelihood already held captive, which means he'd likely be on his way to Hanoi. And once they get him on this particular trail, then it'll be impossible to locate him from the air. But they will of course keep trying, but it's already too late, and they cannot take the chance that Fury might undergo interrogation by the enemy. And as a security risk, Fury takes the cake. He has knowledge of every operation the agency is currently running in Vietnam and its neighboring states. He knows the names of their operatives and everything. Basically, he's Nick Fury, the man that knows all the secrets. And there's nothing the enemy wouldn't do to him to get that information. And the general admits that Fury's probably the finest soldier the US has ever produced, and he deserves better. But they don't have much choice right now. But Frank's first reaction is to ask if they can try to get Fury out alive. But they tell him that they've considered it, and if they can find him on the trail, and it might be possible. But all the way up north, there'd be no chance. It would take a whole team to reach him, but they have no way out. The only thing that makes sense is putting a shooter in range of the place they know he'll be. And Castle is known for being the best shot. And of course, this mission will not officially exist, so there'll be no official orders or paperwork. Then we pick back up with Fury and his unit, and one of his men has lost so much blood and is so banged up that he just can't go on anymore, and then he falls to the ground while they're walking. Meanwhile, Fury tries to convince their captors to let this guy take a small break and get him some water so he can continue to hike. But the captors, though, they just start kicking this guy and yelling for him to get up, while the other unit member starts to yell at the captors for treating his buddy the way they are. But Fury yells for him to shut the hell up. Then he tells him that one of the officers said his name, so they know who Fury is, which means they want him. That means they don't need to keep you alive, he basically tells the other guy. Don't give him a reason, and understand that there's nothing that they can do for Williams now. They're defenseless and the enemy is armed. So shut up, do as they say, wait, and there'll be a time when we can make a move, Fury tells him. But then this guy notices that they are now burying his friend alive since he can no longer go on. And now Fury and the other guy look on as their compatriot is buried alive when the guy starts up again. And now there's no stopping him. He yells to the enemy that they can't do this. But Fury keeps trying to shut him up. But it's over with now, and he's just not gonna listen anymore. You're okay with this? You're Nick Fury, he says. You're gonna stand aside and let this happen? But Fury reiterates that it's going to happen. This isn't a damn John Wayne movie. But like I said, it's over with on trying to shut this guy up now. And he continues to tough talk these guys and chastise them until one of them walks right up behind the man, and with his machete, he straight up takes a swipe and a chunk out of this guy's face with it. And now as he lay on the ground screaming, they all pile in and cut him up. And then they turn their attention back to Fury. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the issue. So what did you guys think about the start to this new series? Are you interested in seeing where it leads? How crazy was it to see that guy's face get sliced in half, y'all? Man, he probably should have taken Fury's advice and shut the hell up. But you guys let me know in the comments how you think Fury is gonna get up out of this jam. Because we all know that he will, since this takes place in the 70s. We just don't know how. But as always, if you guys enjoyed this video and this channel, and you'd like to support the channel, then you could do so by stopping by the Comics Icon store and picking you up some of this dope merchandise, including the background music heard right here in this video. And there'll be a link in the description for both the store and the background track. You guys can also support the channel by joining the Iconic Fan Club channel membership, and there'll be a link in the description to join that as well. But with your membership, you'll gain access to weekly interactive live streams with yours truly, where we can talk about everything that's been going down in these issues, as well as ones that you'd like for me to go over in the future and other comic book news. Plus, you'll get loyalty badges, member shoutouts in these videos, and up to 20% off of Comics Icon's merchandise from the Comics Icon store. And now we've got new tiers to the memberships as well, starting at just 99 cents. And every tier gets in on those weekly interactive live streams. So how's that for an easy way to help out and support your favorite channel? Or you guys can also donate to the channel with a super thanks. And if you're not able to do any of those, then you can still be a tremendous help to this channel's future by dropping a like, share, and subscribing to Comics Icons for more icons in the comic book world. But ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time. I'm out.